The 2025 NFL Draft, in my opinion, is a very good wide receiver class. There seems to be a notion out there that this is a weaker wide receiver group because it doesn't have a Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Nabers at the top. And while it might not be the most top heavy group, I think this is one of the deeper wide receiver classes we have seen in the last few seasons, which is why we are going to be talking about 30 different wide receivers. I wanted to make this about a top 20, but there are so many guys in that 30 to 18 range that I think are really solid receivers that are going to be contributors at the next level. So I said, you know what? Let's talk about 30 of these guys. Some of these guys we've not gotten to talk about on this channel yet. So I'm very excited to get into it. If you guys enjoy the NFL Draft, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page where you will get access to my full draft guide to read all my scouting reports on all 30 of these receivers. But on top of that, there are over 35 more. I have studied 73 different receivers for this draft class. So if you guys want to read all my scouting reports, be sure to go check that out. That is linked in the description below, and it's just $5 a month. But guys, let's go ahead and kick this off with my number 30 receiver. And one thing I do want to get out of the way, it is very close between 30 and I'd say 23. All those guys are in a very tight group. So if you think a guy's too low, replace him with the number 24 guy. They all have virtually the same skill set and virtually the same grade for me. But at number 30, that's where I'm going to have Kobe Hudson out of UCF. This is a guy that I really liked coming into the year and a guy that he didn't really do anything to hurt his draft stock. I'll say that. He had a pretty solid season this year, where he had 4 touchdowns, 770 yards. But if you watch this UCF team, they were a very run-heavy team, and he just wasn't really utilized the way that I think he could have been. This is a guy that just has the ability to win deep. He's a very good deep ball route runner and a guy that has showcased the ability to make plays at all 3 levels of the field. He's 6 foot, 193 pounds, and I really like his jump ball ability. He had a 45% contested catch percentage this past season, which is a really solid number. I would like to see his drops get better. He has really struggled with drops, had 6 drops this past season, and drops have just been a major talking point throughout his collegiate career. He also ran a 4.57. This is not a guy that's going to blow you away with crazy top speed, but I think he knows how to separate deep. I think he's got good ball skills, has the ability to track the ball in the air. And if you're in the middle of day 3 in that 4th, 5th, maybe early 6th round territory, I think Kobe Hudson could be in play there. And I think he could be a very solid deep ball option for you. So he is going to be my number 30 receiver. Again, put him in any spot you want between 30 and 24, and I wouldn't disagree with you. At number 29, this is where we're going to have Deontay Thornton out of Tennessee. Look, I'm a Tennessee fan. I love the Vols. I really struggle to get the vision on this guy being a contributor in the 3rd, early 4th round. I just don't see that. This is a guy that is an older wide receiver prospect. He's been in college for a little bit. He started his collegiate career at the University of Oregon, played 2 seasons, went to Tennessee, played 2 more. And look, if you want to talk yourself into his athletic profile, I absolutely get it. He's 6'4", 205 pounds, runs a 4.3 flat. He is a guy that just runs fast and catches the ball and runs fast again. That is pretty much his entire skill set. He's a phenomenal deep ball option. That is going to be his game at the next level. He is going to be that 9-ball, go up and get it receiver. And he just has the ability with his speed to blow by defensive backs. Well, another note that I really like about him, he is big. He's 6'4", 205 pounds, and he plays up to it. Had 3 contested catches, 75% contested catch rate this past year. This is a guy that averaged 25.5 yards per catch. That's pretty much his entire game. He's not a very good route runner. I don't really think he's super quick or nuanced in terms of separating other than his deep ball separation, and he runs a very simplistic route tree for Tennessee. There are a lot of times where you'll see him on the field, and it's like he's just doing cardio out there. He's really there it doesn't really seem like he's doing anything on the field, but he is a very scheme-specific, role-specific type of receiver, but in his role, I think he could be really good. I love the athletic profile. I've got Thornton at 29, which I know is really low for some people. Another player that I really wanted to have higher, but I just like a couple of the other guys in this class, it's going to be Ricky White from UNLV. Ricky White is one of my favorite sleepers in the class, but he's just not the fastest guy in the world. He's also 6 foot, 179 pounds, so a little bit undersized. But you want to talk about one of the most productive players in the country. Ricky White in 2023 was that dude. He was phenomenal for UNLV. Phenomenal hands. He's slippery after the catch, and a guy that I really think you can get the ball in the open field and he's going to be able to make plays happen. At 11 touchdowns this past year, I really like that about him. He's really good after the catch. Good route runner. Sharp, crisp routes, good footwork along the sidelines, stop and go ability. I mean, he's a very, very good football player, but he is very undersized. He has dealt with drops, and I don't really think he's a deep ball option. He just doesn't do a lot of the stuff that I want to see as a deep ball threat, and that does worry me. One other positive about Ricky White, he is probably the best special teams player in the entire class, a guy that has been an absolute demon at blocking punts. So if you want a guy that can help your special teams unit, I think Ricky White is that dude. There's a lot to like about him, but like I mentioned, he's undersized and he's just not a very physically imposing receiver. At a 36.4% contested catch rate this past year, he didn't run very well at the combine at a 4.61. He did improve that at his pro day, but he's a tough evaluation. I think he's a very good player, and I know he's too low on my board. He's going to get drafted and be a contributor. But like I said, this is a very good receiver class, and I just value a few of the other guys a little bit more. So I've got Ricky White at number 28. At number 27, we've got Nick Nash from San Jose State, a guy that a lot of people comment about on a lot of my videos, and I get it. He's a really fun player and a guy that's a former quarterback, converted receiver, had 104 receptions for 1,300 yards, 16 receiving touchdowns, 18 contested catches with 50% there. I mean, this is a guy that should have been in the running for the Biletnikoff, and you could have made a strong case for it. Really good route runner. He knows how to sell his routes. He does a good job of creating separation. Reliable hands. He was targeted so much, so he's going to have more drops. But if you watch his tape, this is a guy that has strong hands. He attacks the football high, and I love that about his game. I think he can win to all three levels of the field. He's 6'2", 198 pounds, so I really like the frame. And there's a lot to like, but he is another guy that is a little bit older. He's been in college since 2019. He's really struggled at putting the football on the ground, not with drops, but he fumbles the football a lot. And he doesn't really do a whole lot after the catch. He's not very elusive. I feel like if he catches it, he's going to go down. He ran a 4.57, so you'd like to see his athleticism is not the most incredible in the world, but I think he's a very solid receiver and a guy that can be a good wide receiver 3 because of the hands, because of the route running, the ability to create separation. So I've got Nick Nash at 27. I think he's a really good player, and I like him a lot more than I think a lot of people do. At number 26 in this class, that's where we're going to have Isaiah Neyor. I love Isaiah Neyor, man. I think this is a guy that's going to be one of the big sleepers in this draft class. I think he could be higher on this list. I really do. His size is phenomenal. He's 6'3", 222 pounds, 83 and an eighth inch wingspan, ran a 4.4 flat, 11.1 broad jump. This guy's a very, very good athlete. He moves incredibly well. Really good long speed. He's super fluid for the position, which I'm a big fan of. Fantastic frame. The long speed and the explosiveness off the line of scrimmage, really impressive. And I think he's a very good route runner. He's shifty, he knows how to sell his routes, and he is one of the best deep ball threats in the entire class. But this is another guy, he's 23 years old, started his collegiate career at Wyoming, went to Texas for a year, spent his past season at Nebraska, and he's just kind of bounced around. I think he tries to do too much at times in terms of trying to show off, do one-handed catches when it's not really necessary. But the biggest concern with Neyor and why he's not in the top 20, this is a guy that's very big. He's got a physically imposing frame, but he does not play like it. He had a abysmal, I believe it was a 29% contested catch rate this past year. For a guy that's 6'3", 222, that's unacceptable. He does not play well through physicality. That's going to have to get better. But I love the athletic profile. I think he's a very good deep ball option. Similarly to Dante Thornton, I just like what Neyor does as an overall route runner a little bit more. So I've got Isaiah Neyor at number 26. At number 25, that's where we're going to have Andrew Armstrong out of Nebraska. Another guy with a phenomenal frame, 6'3", 202 pounds, guy who had a 79.5-inch wingspan. He just does a lot of the things, a lot of the dirty work you want to see. Really good size, long arms, long legs, which give him really long strides. His first step off the line of scrimmage, really sharp, and I think he's a really crisp route runner. I love his ability to settle down in zone coverage. I think he's got a strong football IQ with strong, reliable hands, and he's one of the better blocking receivers in the draft class. I think he does a good job in that area. He's a physical receiver. 17 contested catches this past year for a 60.7% contested catch rate, over 1,100 yards this past season. He is a really good wide receiver. I think the areas that you'd like to see improve, he looks really thin. He's 6'3", he's only 202. Would like to see him get a little bit better. He's also not great against press coverage. I think he's going to have to work on his press release. I think he is better as a zone beater than he is against man coverage. I think he struggles to consistently separate. And I was worried about his contested catch rate coming into the year. That really improved for him. This is a guy that's starting to get a little bit more buzz as of late, and it's well-deserved. He's a very good player, a guy that has been productive in the offense that he runs. He can block, he can catch, he's a good route runner, and I think he's a smart football player. So I've got him at number 25. At number 24 in this class, that's where we're going to have Efton Chisholm out of Eastern Washington, a guy that I guarantee not many of you are seeing in your wide receiver ranking videos. Chisholm is a very good football player that I know he's slow. I get it. He ran a 4.71. I am fully aware that he is not the biggest and he's not the fastest guy in the world. But man, he is a really good route runner. He just knows how to sell his routes, combine double moves, make defenders bite, and then go the opposite direction. He's a really fun gadget player and a guy that you can get the ball to on screens. He's great after the catch. He's hard to bring down, really reliable hands, and he's just made plays left and right. A guy who had 120 receptions for 1,306 yards, 13 touchdowns, 58.3 contested catch percentage. But my favorite number of him, the 20-yard shuttle, he ran a 4.06. This guy's really, really solid. He's quick. I think he's way more quick than he is fast, and his 40 time reflects that, but I don't think he is a bad athlete by any means. He is undersized, though, and he's likely going to be a slot-only option at the next level, but it's a guy that can win. This is a guy that knows how to separate, sell his routes, get open, and he's got the hands to finish the play. A guy that only had 3 drops on 120 receptions this past season. That's a really good number. I'm a big fan of him. I put a tweet out about him back in November, a guy that has just been steady on my draft board all year. Big fan of Efton Chisholm and a guy that he's probably going to go late day 3, but a big-time player that I'm a fan of. I've got him at number 24. At number 23, and this is where I think the next tier of receivers begins. So everybody from Kobe Hudson to Efton Chisholm, put those guys in any order you want. This is where I think it starts to change. And at number 23, I've got Pat Bryant. I like Pat Bryant quite a bit. 6'2", 208, a guy that's got a really big frame, and he plays up to his frame. One of the best contested catch receivers in the class. A guy that, let me pull his numbers up really quick here. A guy that had a 66.7% contested catch rate, averaged 18.2 yards per reception, 10 touchdowns this past year for the Fighting Illini. He's just not very athletic, and that's really what it comes down to. This is a guy that ran a 4.61. I do think he can win deep, and he's got some nice deep ball options. He's showcased some good double moves and things like that. He's a better route runner than I think he gets credit for, but he does really struggle to break out of his routes with a ton of quickness. He's not really the fastest guy, and he's just been unproductive outside of his 2024 season. I look at Bryant as more of a contested catch, true X receiver for you. Reminds me of Jacoby Myers a little bit in terms of frame, movement abilities. I think they're very similar. He's going to be a good player, though. I think he's a 4th-round guy. Love his game. And a guy that is a steady option in this class. I've moved him down a little bit from where I had him just because I think there's better athletes and more versatile weapons, but Pat Bryant's a good football player. I've got him at 23. At number 22, the other Arkansas receiver, one of the newest guys I watched in this class. That's going to be Isaac Tesla out of Arkansas. Man, this guy is a ton of fun. A guy that just He just does everything. 6'2", 212. He is a big supercharged slot, though. A guy that he's just a mismatch problem because he does do a lot of his damage from the slot. He just moves differently than some of these defenders are able to, and he knows how to jump up and get the football. You worry about the production with him. He just hasn't put up a ton of great numbers. Started his collegiate career at Hillsdale College, went to Arkansas in 2023, but he's got a really large catch radius, great hands, really good separation abilities, but he has the ability to win the contested catches. 5 contested catches with a 71.4% contested catch rate. A guy that had 0 drops this past season, averaged 19 yards per reception. He caught everything that was thrown his way, quite literally. He's just got a lot of traits that you really love. You do worry about the lack of production in the SEC. I don't think he's very sharp as a route runner, as good of a separator as he is. I think he's more smooth than he is sharp. And at times I feel like his spatial awareness, his zone IQ, where he is on the field needs to improve a little bit. But man, this is a guy that if you're looking for a Puka Nacua type of player in this class, it's Isaac TeSlaa to a T. He's a very good player. I'm probably too low on him, to be completely honest with you. But this class is really good. I've got TeSlaa at 22. At number 21 in this class, that's where I'm going to have Caden Prather. I love this guy. This is a guy that going back to last year, I was like, man, Caden Prather's got the opportunity to develop into a really great receiver. Unfortunately, that was Ty Felton, who we'll talk about here in just a minute. But Caden Prather is still a very good wide receiver that I think is going to be a better pro than he was in college. He's 6'3", 209. Absolutely love the frame that he has. He's long. He's got really good quickness for the position. Ran a 4.46, which is better than I thought it was on tape. He's a better route runner than people give him credit for. And I think he knows how to block out DBs and win the contested catch opportunities. I do think he's going to have to improve at being a more consistent route runner. He had a 35.7% contested catch rate, which was down from where it was the previous year. He's weird because I feel like he's more of a finesse guy and a guy that can win with sharp cuts, but he's not super physical like I'd like to see, and that kind of showed up this past year. He doesn't really play as big as he is, and that is why I have him at 21. Really didn't take that next step in his development or the body, but I still think he's a very good player and a guy I'm willing to take in the 4th round. So I've got Prather at number 21. At number 20, I've got Kamire Dike out of Florida. Dike is incredible and a guy that I was not really familiar with for quite a while in this draft process, but I think it was right after the Senior Bowl, or right before. I was trying to get all the Senior Bowl guys looked at, and I was like, man, this Florida kid is really good, and he is a phenomenal wide receiver that I still don't feel like is getting the credit he deserves. He's 6 foot 192, so he's got a really compact build that's got really good versatility. You can play him in the slot, play him on the boundary. Florida loved to utilize him in motion, and he was really good. He's got physicality at the catch point. For a guy that's 192, 70% contested catch rate this past season for the Gators. Really love that number. Really good release package, and the speed is really what intrigues me. Ran a 4.34. I knew he was fast. I didn't think he was that fast. You would like to see him improve as an overall route runner because I felt like he ran a very simplistic route tree for the Gators. He has struggled with drops, and this is a guy that is a bit of an older prospect. He had 4 drops this past season for Florida. I'm a big fan, though. Another guy that I think could be a supercharged slot weapon for you. I like DK a little bit better. He's a little bit more explosive, a little bit faster. I think he's a smarter overall football player than TeSlaa, but this is a guy that has to be in my top 20. I've just been really loving everything I've seen from him. He can win deep, can make plays at all 3 levels of the field, and can be a gadget piece for you as well. So I've got Kamire Dike at number 20. At number 19, that's where we're going to have the other Maryland receiver. This is going to be Ty Felton. Felton's a really good player. Another player that tested out better than I thought he was going to do. He ran a 4.37. I didn't think he was going to have that type of long speed. That was one of my big concerns, so I do love that. A guy that just broke out of nowhere this past season for Maryland. Really good hands. It seems like he caught everything that was thrown his way. It ended up getting worse as the season went on. Early in the year, he was phenomenal. Had 8 drops. So you'd like to see it get a little bit better, but early on in the season when he was on his tear, this guy was a guy that caught everything. He's a smart guy against zone coverage who knows how to get open, separates really well, combines different routes together, double moves, really good yak guy, and he just has the ability to make guys miss in the open field. He's 6 foot 186, so he's probably a slot receiver at the next level, and I worry about his physicality. 31.6% contested catch rate. He wasn't a great physical weapon, struggled against press coverage, and it's why his numbers took a dip in the second half of the season, but I like what he can be as a slot piece, a guy that could be a yards after the catch demon for you. He's a good football player. He is, and I'm a fan of what he can bring to my NFL franchise. I've got him at number 19. At number 18 in this class, that's where we're going to have Savion Williams. So we've got a little bit of a tier jump here. This is where I think you get real day one contributors. And Savion Williams, man, you want to talk about freak athletes. 6'3", 222 pounds, ran a 4.48 at the combine. He's got the traits that NFL teams are just salivating over because he's big, he's incredibly physical for the position, and a guy that 85.7% contested catch rate. He just knows how to win with his body. He's got great physicality at the catch point. He's a good route runner. He's got good size, can stop and go on a dime. And they love to utilize him out of the backfield. So if you're looking for a guy like a Cordero Patterson, a guy that can run routes but is a very good runner, Savion Williams is that guy. He's going to be a really good special teamer. I think he's going to be a really good option in wildcat formations. But as a receiver, he has to improve his hands. His hands are maybe the worst of any receiver in this draft class that we will talk about. 7 drops this past season. For a guy that's so physical, he just struggles to make the easy catches. I also worry about his production. This is a guy that has been at TCU for a long time, and he just hasn't been productive. He just hasn't taken that step to being a number one receiver. Jack Bech ended up being that guy. Quentin Johnston ended up being that guy. And while Savion Williams is a better athlete than all those guys, he just hasn't put it all together as a receiver, and that concerns me. I like Savion Williams. I'm not in love with him, though. I've got him at number 18. At number 17, that's where we're going to have Tez Johnson. I want to have Tez higher because he's 5'9". Let me backstep. Tez Johnson is a guy that is incredibly explosive on tape, one of the best route runners. He's really good after the catch, great speed in the open field and the ability to blow by guys, reliable hands, plays bigger than his size. He is a complete outlier, though, in terms of his frame. 5'9", 156 pounds. And he ran a 4.51, and it's like, this is a guy that if he runs a 4.47, I would feel a little bit better. But he ran a 4.51 at that size. We've never seen a receiver this small before. And look, Tank Dell, he might not play football again because of the injuries he's had. And that is the only comparable receiver even close to the size of Tez Johnson. And that was not comparable because he's a lot smaller than even Tank Dell. So there are a lot of concerns about his frame. But man, this is the type of guy you want to root for. He's going to be a slot weapon, but he knows how to separate. His footwork is absolutely elite. He knows how to get open across the middle of the field. He's a really fun player. He's going to have to improve at I mean, he can't really improve it, but I'd like to see him get a little bit bigger. He's going to have to be able to deal with more physicality. He's going to be a boom or bust prospect. I think he's either going to be Tank Dell or he'll be out of the league in 3 to 4 years because he's just so small. He's a tough evaluation, but I've got him at number 17 because I love what I saw on tape, and he was unguardable at the Senior Bowl. He really was. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I've got him at number 17. At number 16, that's where we're going to have a Xavier Restrepo out of Miami. A guy that I love. I really do. Phenomenal footwork. Really good separator. Some of the best hands in the class. It's not just like, he catches everything. Only had 2 drops this past season. But he makes the acrobatic catches. Routine. Makes one-handed grabs. He is a guy that is the all-time leader in receiving yards for Miami. He's a good blocker for the position. He does make impressive catches along the sideline. His footwork, body control are out of this world. He is really, really good in those areas. But the area of concern, the athleticism. Man, his 40 was a rough watch. I believe he ran a 4.8. Yeah, that's not good. That's really bad time for a receiver. Even though we know he's slow on tape, that's not good. I know he had some stuff, I believe, that ended up going on that caused him to run slower. It's still definitely alarming. He would have been in the top 11 probably if it wasn't for that time. It moved him down significantly. I also just don't love his size. He's 5'9", 200, but he's got short arms, 71 and an 1/8 wingspan. I don't think he's got the size to play on the boundary. Now, he is physical. This is a guy that can win contested catches, but he's unathletic, he's small, and a guy that, like I said, I think he's a boomer bust prospect. I could see him being an absolutely elite receiver, maybe a number 2, number 3, but I could also see him, similarly to Tez Johnson, being out of the league. So this is the tier here. It's Savion Williams, it's Tez Johnson, Xavier Restrepo. Really solid players with a ton of question marks about their development. Now we're going to move into a different tier inside the top 15, and that's where we're going to have Torrey Horton. This is a guy that I really liked. It's just battled injuries. I know my good friend Peter, he's the president of the Torrey Horton fan club. He absolutely loves this guy, and for good reason. He's 6'2", 196 pounds. Great size, 4.41 speed, so he knows how to get open. He's got a good size and frame. I also think he is a guy that is good at evading pressure, can break tackles, really good footwork along the sidelines, strong hands, good footwork. I think he's a guy that can win at all 3 levels of the field. I like his game a lot, but he's not playing against the strongest competition for Colorado State. And I think he's going to have to improve his nuance as a route runner because it felt like he ran a lot of shallow crossers, a lot of slants, and he was asked to do a lot. Maybe a couple of go balls here, but I didn't think he had a very diverse route tree when I watched him. I'd like to see that get a little bit better. That was a big concern I had with Dallin Holker last year, who I really liked. They just don't have their weapons to run a ton of routes, and that does concern me a little bit. He's a good player, though. A guy that reminds me of George Pickens without the headache of George Pickens because he's big, he's fast, he's physical, and a guy that's been uber productive for Colorado State. Decided to come back to school when he probably could have made a lot of money going to the NFL last year, but he's a good football player and a guy that I think is going to be a starting receiver at the NFL level. Could be a good number 2. I've got Torrey Horton at number 15. At number 14 in the class, I've got Jalen Lane. I was lower on this guy for a while, but the more I watch of him, the more you just see the rare explosiveness and agility that this guy brings to your football team. 5'9", 191 pounds. For context here, I had a 6th to a 7th round grade on Jalen Lane. This is a guy that now I firmly believe is a day 2 pick. He's got some of the best speed in the entire draft class. Ran a 4.34, 1.5 flat on the 10-yard split, 40-inch vert, 11-inch broad jump, 4.12 20-yard shuttle. The footwork is phenomenal. His ability to make guys miss and his speed is electric. He's a shifty and smart player as well, but he is 5'9". He's got a bit of a compact build. He's 191 pounds. He bounces off tackles really, really well. He's a guy that can be a legitimate threat as a punt returner as well, where he has been phenomenal for the Hokies. I love this guy, and a guy that I think is going to be a really good slot weapon. He is undersized, yes. He was used as a motion man a lot. I didn't feel like he got a lot of looks as just a regular receiver. This is a guy that's probably going to need to be schemed touches at the next level, but he's so electric with the football in his hands. Just do it because he's going to be able to take it to the house. He's not the most physical receiver in the world, but he knows how to win. He just knows how to get open across the middle, and I'm a big fan of his game. A guy that I think is going to be a legitimate wide receiver 2, maybe 3, but an absolutely elite special teamer as well. I've got Jalen Lane at number 14. At number 13, I've got Isaiah Bond from Texas. And just didn't really have the season that I wanted to see. Because at Alabama, this was a guy that was a borderline wide receiver 1 for me. But there are just too many times where he's not doing anything out there for Texas. he never really grew into his body, was able to develop physically the way I wanted. Just a 27.3% contested catch rate, had 20% the year prior. He is not physical. He does not win the jump balls very well. He's not very good after the catch either, and he doesn't want to block. This is a guy that just doesn't really play aggressive when he's not being targeted the football. I don't like to question a guy's motor, but he doesn't have a very good motor. It just is what it is. He doesn't want to do the dirty work. The reason he's still at 13, though, you can't really deny the athleticism. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's 5'10", 180. He knows how to run routes really well. He's sharp. He's quick. The footwork is really good. He's able to settle into the soft spots of zone coverage. Good hands and body control along the sidelines. Quick when breaking out of his routes. A guy that ran a 4.39, which was honestly disappointing for him, and he ran a 4.3. This guy athletically is everything that you want. Can he be a little bit more mature? Can he show a little bit more aggressiveness when he's not getting the football? Because that's the biggest concern with Bond. And if he can do that, this could be one of the steals of the draft. He just hasn't shown that yet, and so I've got him at number 13. At number 12 in this class, I've got Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. Look, I struggle with Ole Miss prospects every single year because they run a very simple offense, and Trey Harris just wasn't asked to do very much. They run such a limited route tree, and he did struggle to gain separation on those routes. I felt like he had some really good moments, and he is a really good deep ball threat. This guy just knew how to get open deep, was one of Jackson Dart's favorite targets. He was his favorite target. A guy that averaged 17.2 yards per reception this past year, over 1,000 yards, and he went down midway through the season with injuries. I think he was going to win the Biletnikoff if he didn't go down with injuries because of how good he was. He did run a limited route tree, but the routes he did run, I thought he ran well. He's got good hands. He's got solid speed to get open deep. He ran a 4.54, which for his size at 6'2", 205, I think that's a pretty solid time. I like Trey Harris as a prospect. I'm not the highest on him. I know Trey Harris has a lot of really big fans in the NFL draft community. I think he's a little bit more role-specific right now. He's probably a deep ball threat, similarly to a Christian Watson. But I think the athleticism and the abilities that he shows are worth betting on in the second to third round. So I have Trey Harris at number 12. At number 11 in this class, I've got Kyle Williams out of Washington State. Everything that we said about Jalen Lane applies to Kyle Williams, except he's a little bit bigger, and the production for him has been phenomenal. He's 5'10", 182, does have shorter arms, but man, he is so fast, and it shows on tape. He's so shifty, can stop and go on a dime. His initial burst and first step off the line of scrimmage is phenomenal. He's got one of the best release packages of any receiver in the draft class, and he's really dynamic after the catch as well. He is undersized. He's not going to win the contested catches. He's probably going to be a slot receiver, but even then, he had a 62.5% contested catch rate. So while I don't think he's the most physical weapon, he's showed good production there. Chris Sims had him at wide receiver 2. That's absurd to me, but I think Kyle Williams is a very good player. A guy that who did I compare him to? I compared him to Tyler Lockett because of his ability to win deep, really strong hands, really good deep ball route runner. There's a lot to love about Kyle Williams and his game. I think his tape is phenomenal, and a guy that I think is going to be a good player at the next level. I've got him at number 11. Entering the top 10 here, we've got Alec Iomanner out of Stanford. Very different than some of the other guys that we've been talking about. He is a big, physical, contested catch demon. He's 6'1", 206, 10-inch hands. He's got big hands. Runs a 4.44, which is a really good time. Really good size. He honestly looks bigger than what he's listed at. He's so big for the receiver position. He's really quick, though, when breaking out of his routes. And I think that's the area about Iomanner that intrigues me the most because he is big. He's got big hands. Usually with these bigger guys, you don't expect the quick feet or the good athleticism. Iomanner brings that. He has speed to win deep. He's got phenomenal hands. Go back and watch his game against Syracuse where he pulls off one of the most unbelievable one-handed grabs in the end zone. Really, really good hands. He is a guy that, for as big as he is, I'd like to see him be a better contested catch weapon. 44.4%, not incredible. I do think he plays a little too vertical at times, and he's dealt with drops. But this is a really good athlete, a guy that has been incredibly productive for Stanford. He absolutely torched Travis Hunter a couple of years ago, and we'll talk about Travis Hunter later in this video, but Iomanor's a good player. He is a true second-round receiver, and this is where I think the rest of these receivers are probably borderline top 50 players for me. So I like Iomanor a ton. I've got him at number 10. At number 9 in this class, I've got Jalen Royals. I've been a Jalen Royals fan since the summer, and he backed it up again this year. I think he was going to put up incredible numbers before he got hurt. 55 receptions for 839 yards, 15.3 yards per catch. Ran a 4.42 with a 1.49 split. His first step is explosive. He's got good long speed. He showcases the ability to win deep. But if you look at some of the statistics in 2023 of his separation, he is one of the best separators in this draft. He just is. He knows how to get open. He's a guy that, yeah, he is 5'11", 210, but he's got the frame to play on the boundary. He can play in the slot. He's fast. He's shifty. He makes guys miss. He knows how to get open in the middle, can stretch the seam a little bit. Had a foot injury in October. I didn't think he was a very physical weapon, and he does like to take plays off at times. He doesn't block very well. I'm not too worried about that, truthfully. Like with Isaiah Bond, it was a lot. With Royals, if you're not blocking here and there, it's not a great habit to get into. I'll let it slide from time to time. It's not bad with Jalen Royals, especially when he has been as productive as he is, and he is as dynamic as he is with the football in his hands. I think he's really good after the catch. I'm a huge fan of Jalen Royals and what he can bring to the table. Really good football player. I've got him at number 9. At number 8 in this class, that's where we are going to have Jalen Knoll out of Iowa State. So the two Iowa State receivers, when we were coming into the year, I didn't think either of them were draftable. Which I'm going to have to get better on this. I just didn't like their tape. I thought they were fine. Jalen Knoll is one of the most interesting players in this draft class because he's explosive off the line of scrimmage. He's shifty, really good route runner. His stop and go ability, the ability to mix in double moves and get open deep, really impressive. I think he's one of the better deep ball route runners in the class. He wins those go balls. He's got really good yard after catch upside as well. And I like what he brings, but man, for a guy that ran a 4.39, I don't think he's a 4.39 guy on tape. He's explosive, but I don't think he's very fast on tape. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, play speed and testing speed are not the same thing. Jalen Knoll is not the fastest guy on tape, and that's okay. He's still able to blow by guys, and there are times when he plays up to that speed. But more often than not, I think he's more quick than he is fast. He is undersized, but he's 196 pounds, so he is bulkier. He's able to bounce off contact, and I'm a big fan of his game. He's going to have to improve his hands. He's got some really ugly drops on tape. He's a guy that, like I said, he's not the most physical or the biggest receiver in the world, but he's really good at the football in his hands. He's a good route runner. He gets open deep. I've got Jalen Knoll at number 8. At number 7, I've got his teammate, and that's going to be Jaden Higgins. I like Jaden Higgins. I'm not there in terms of like the borderline first-round grade on him. I think he's a second-round receiver, and I think he's a good receiver at that as well. But he's 6'3", 217, phenomenal length as well, nearly 80-inch wingspan, ran a 4.47. This is the guy, though, that I think he doesn't have the greatest athleticism in the world. He's not a great separator. I think he is more of a body catcher than he is a hands receiver, but he catches everything. His contested catches are stupid. He had a 56% contested catch rate on 14 contested catches, just 2 drops this past season, 1 drop in 2023. He's big, he's physical, he's a true X receiver that does show good quickness on slants and short crossers, and he's able to showcase good footwork as a route runner. I don't think he's this dynamic athlete, but I don't think he has to be. He reminds me a lot of Drake London. There are so many similarities in their games, and he might be a little bit of a better athlete than Drake London is, to be completely honest with you. Higgins is a guy, I mentioned it with Noel. I didn't love him coming into the year, but what he did this past season, his ability to win with his body, the consistent hands, the size, he's a really good player. I've got Jaden Higgins at number 7. At number 6 in this class, I've got Jack Besh. I love Jack Besh a lot. He is one of my favorite receiver prospects I have ever studied. It is not just from this year. He is so unbelievably talented. And he's a guy that is just, I think he's going to impress a lot of people in the league. I've got a borderline first round grade on Jack Besh. 6'1", 218 pounds, sharp, smooth route runner, great at getting separation, reliable hands. He caught virtually everything. Similarly to Higgins, only 1 drop this season, 12 contested catches with a 66.7% contested catch rate. Very strong after the catch, bounces off contact with his big build. And he's also the best blocking receiver in this class. He is a hard-nosed football player that, I hate to use it, he is sneaky athletic as well. I know it's cliche, but he is. He doesn't have the greatest long speed. I don't think he's an elite athlete. He's good. He's not great. And outside of 2024, he doesn't have a lot of production. I don't think he's going to be this deep ball threat. My comp for him is Puka Nacua, though. The way they move, the way they win at the catch point, it's very, very similar. He's got a phenomenal story as well. Started his career at LSU. Obviously, his brother Tiger tragically passed away in the terrorist attacks in New Orleans this past January. And he's a guy that I'm just going to bet on him to be successful because he does everything you want at the receiver position. He's physical. He's big. He's powerful. I've got him at number 6. At number 5, I've got Matthew Golden out of Texas. Look, the top 5 receivers are going to be very controversial, whatever order you put them in. And I like Golden. He's a really good gadget player. He's shifty, really good open field speed, a route runner who can sell his routes, good ball tracking ability with the deep ball tracking as well. His ball skills are really good for the position. Average 17 yards per reception. Man, there's just something that the hype around him, he's a good football player, but he just hasn't been very productive. Outside of the last half of the season for Texas, he wasn't a wide receiver 1 at Houston, and he wasn't the wide receiver 1 this past year for Texas until the SEC championship game. I don't think he's the most physical wide receiver in the world. It improved in 2024. I don't think that's his game. He is going to need to add on weight. He's 5'11", 191. And another guy where I feel like he just doesn't give it 110% every single snap. There are a lot of snaps I feel like he takes off. I like Golden. He's a really good route runner. He's super shifty and nuanced. Reminds me a lot of Stephon Diggs. He's a first-round player to me, but I like some of the other guys a little bit more. I think they've got higher floors. I've got Matthew Golden at 5. At 4, that's where I'm going to have Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. Just because he's been the number 2 at Ohio State does not mean that this is not a fantastic football player. I was lower on Egbuka coming into the year, and I left this season being like, yeah, that's a guy that I'm taking in the first round. There's just not a world where I think Emeka Egbuka will be a bad football player. He, at the very worst, is going to be a solid contributor. Because what more do you want to see from him? Route running, very good. He knows how to separate. He's really smart in zone coverage, settles down really well. Can he get open after the catch? Yes, he's elusive after the catch, has good speed overall. He's good at finding the soft spots in zone, separates well, great hands for the position. I think he could add on weight. He's 202 pounds, maybe get a little bit bigger. I think he struggles at times against press coverage and physicality, but he had 22 contested catches at a 59.1% this past year. I mean, there's not a lot to dislike about him. I think the only reason he's this low, he's probably a slot receiver at the next level because he's not the most explosive long speed guy in the world. And I'm not even that concerned about it. He's Jackson Smith-Njigba 2.0. Emeka Egbuka is a good wide receiver, a great wide receiver. I've got him at number 4. At number 3, I've got Luther Burden. He is still a guy that I'm willing to bet on early in this draft class. Because why not, right? Because he's got the ability to make plays happen after the catch, really solid hands, good route runner. And look, I think everyone's going to point to the down year he had in 2024. Just 676 yards, 61 receptions. Look at who was throwing in the quarterback. Look at that offense this past year. He's undersized. I feel like I should take that back. We thought he was around 5'10 coming into the year. Weighed in at 6 foot 206. He's a really fast player. Ran a 4.41. You can use him in the slot. You can use him on the outside. He's really dynamic with the football in his hands. Good yard after the catch ability with shiftiness, separations, can win deep really well, which I love. And I think he just knows how to make guys miss. He had 13 contested catches in 2023, had 6 in 2024. He plays bigger than his frame. He does have some drop concerns. He's not a great blocker. Obviously, the down year is going to be concerning to a lot of people, but he's still my number 3 receiver and a guy that is going to get drafted later than he should. I think he's going to be a good football player because you can use him in so many different ways for your offense. I've got Luther Burden at number 3. At number 2, I've got Tetairoa McMillan out of Arizona. I mean, I don't know what I can say that hasn't been said about Tet McMillan. Is he fast? No, but he's not slow. People want to create the narrative that Tet McMillan is a slow wide receiver. Haven't watched the tape. He is not slow. He is explosive off the line of scrimmage. He's a guy that maybe he's not the most insane deep ball speed, but he runs a 4.53. That's a fantastic time for a 6'4", 219-pound receiver. He's really good at winning 50-50 balls. I mean, he turns them into 60-40 balls, 61% contested catch rate, 19 contested catch opportunities this past year. He's got better speed than you would expect, great size, great hands, really good after the catch as well. I don't think he's a great separator. That's the area I'd like to see get better. He's not a great separator across the middle, but he doesn't need to be because he catches everything that is thrown his way. I think too many people are too down on Tet McMillan. I think he's a very good wide receiver. I've got him at number 2 because at number 1, I mean, we've got an alien. He was my number 1 corner, and he's my number 1 receiver. Put him any position. I think he's going to be an absolute freak and a contributor. I mean, I'm not going to spend a ton of time here. We know how great of an athlete he is. His ability to stop and go on a dime, his footwork, and his ability to run sharp routes, absolutely phenomenal. Excellent hands, the ball tracking ability, the ability to win through physicality, can be used at all 3 levels of the field. I mean, he does everything at the receiver position so well. 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 68.8% contested catch rate this past season, and he was playing full-time at corner as well. I mean, you'd like to see him be a better blocker. That's about it. That's really the only area of his game that I would like to see be a little bit better. And he gets to take some plays off as a blocker because he's playing full-time on the other side of the football. If he's a receiver at the next level, he's the number 1 receiver in this class. Reminds me of CeeDee Lamb. Very similar movement abilities. Route running is elite. Hands are elite. I've got Travis Hunter as the number 1 receiver in this draft class. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Which receivers do you think should have made my top 30? There are a couple of honorable mentions I'll talk about here late at the end. Jimmy Horn, LeJontay Wester, Elijah Badger, Kanata Mumpfield, Juice Wells. I really like Jackson Meeks as well. A lot of guys that could have made this list. It's a very deep wide receiver class, but I'd love to hear from you guys. Who are some guys that you think I missed out on? Leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.